Thank you, Renee. Welcome. Welcome to First Unitarian Church of Oakland this morning. This is the first of our summer services, which are crafted entirely by lay leaders and congregants. Guest leaders and congregants. Our Reverend Laurel Liefert is off on a well-deserved rest. She'll be back for 3 weeks in August, and then lay-led services will resume until through September 27th. Kumi, are you here? There you are. Kumi has a short announcement.
Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to give an announcement. You may have seen in the Chalice chatter, but the folks who do let us use some of the spots in their parking lot across the street have been having some residents who have said folks have been parking in their reserved spots. So just want to make sure everybody knows if you are parking in the lot that's directly across the street from us, please only park in spots that say staff. They let us use their staff spots on the weekend, so if a spot says reserved, please do not park there or your car may get towed, which I don't want to happen. So just wanted to make sure everybody knew. Thank you.
Thanks, Gumi. So if anybody needs to run out and move their car, this would be the time. There's more parking information on the bulletin board in the narthex also. So today you will not want to miss our guest speaker, Alison Baron. She's a relative newcomer to the West Coast, but a longtime Unitarian Universalist studying at Starr King for the Unitarian Universalist ministry. So welcome, Alison. We're so glad to have you with us today.
Good morning. We begin with a land acknowledgement. We pause this morning to remember that the land on which we live and work and play has a long history, and for thousands of years was cared for by the Ohlone people of what we now call the Bay Area. We remind each other that the land was taken from the Ohlone people and that our church, our homes, our playgrounds exist on stolen land. We rise in solidarity with the descendants of the Ohlone by supporting the Sogorea Land Trust, a local organization dedicated to the rematriation of this land to indigenous people.
And now we'll light our chalice. If you will please join me with the words which will be on the screen, and if you know them, the hand motions that go along. We light this chalice, symbol of Unitarian Universalism. May it remind us of the divine spark in all of creation, the power of love to heal what is broken, and to be grateful for life's blessings each day.
Our call to worship comes from the Reverend Kathy Ryan Starr. Welcome to this place of peace. May we find some moments of quiet contemplation. Welcome to this place of celebration. May our hearts soar with gratitude for the gift of life. Welcome to this place of sacred love. May we gently hold all that is broken here. Welcome to this place of inquiry. Here, may we be challenged to open our minds and hearts ever wider. Come into this place of community. May we together draw the circle of love and justice ever wider. Welcome to this sacred place. And in one voice we say, come, let us worship together.
For our peace candle, the words of James Baldwin. I would like us to do something unprecedented, to create ourselves without finding it necessary to create an enemy. And together we say, peace is possible. For the Black Lives Matter candle, the words of Desmond Tutu. A person is a person through other persons. You can't be human in isolation. You are only human in relationships. And all of our humanity is dependent upon recognizing the humanity in others. Together we say, Black Lives Matter. Would you rise and we'll sing, We Are a Gentle, Angry People together.
So this is a time for all ages. Anyone can answer this question. What do you think of when you think of justice? Scales. Fairness. Equity. Reparations. Peace. Solidarity. Say it again. Fragile. Support. Okay. 1%? Okay. So here's another question. How does justice happen? Work, struggle, organizing. Getting out of your comfort zone. Resistance, awareness. Okay, I did not expect this many answers. This is fabulous. Where does it happen? Everywhere and anywhere. Art? Heart. And also art. So could something we do right here, right now, be justice? Yes. She's like, yes, duh. What about in like religious education classrooms or our school classrooms? Maybe. What about in coffee hour? Right here. Probably. What about out on the sidewalk? Okay, another question. For this, I just need a volunteer to either stand up or raise their hands, whatever is comfortable for you. Any volunteers? One person. Raise your hand. Okay, back there. Can this one person do justice by themselves? Obviously. Can a couple more people stand up or raise hands? Whatever's comfortable for you. Can this keep them raised or keep standing up? Can this many people do more justice? Okay, now a whole bunch of people, whoever's willing or able to stand, raise your hands. What kinds of justice, look at this, what kinds of justice could this many people work for? Like, more. Imagine this sanctuary filled with people flowing out the door and everybody standing shoulder to shoulder, maybe arms linked. What kind of force for justice we could be. And you online folks, I hope you're imagining yourselves part of this too. You're linked in too. Look around. I mean, this sanctuary is only half full today, but still, remember how it feels. And wherever we go, whatever we want to accomplish, if we want to say something, if we want to speak up for justice or do something to make the world more fair, there is stuff we can do on our own, that one person back there. But there are lots of others who want to join us, and we're a lot stronger together. So we're going to sing the kids out, the kid. We're going to sing Go Now a Piece, and if you don't have a kid to sing to, sing it to each other. You can stay up, because I invite you now to greet one another. Find someone familiar, someone unfamiliar, and say hi.
What a lovely sound, all of you all talking to each other. It is, it's really lovely to hear. But sometimes this world is hard to be in, unfair and unloving. When that happens, I go to my garden, thinking that what I need is to disengage, to be away from it all. I sit down, open up a good book, and start to read. But I always seem to get distracted, beguiled by some living thing, a bird, an insect, or a weed poking up in a bed where I'm trying to grow, well, something else. So I put my book down, get up from my seat, and go over to get a closer look. What is this plant that wants to live right here in my garden? I kneel on the ground to look it in the eye, scope it out, comprehend its strategy. Turns out the weed is a tuft of grass, which draws me into musing about how much I love the grasses that grow in our East Bay hills: rabbitfoot, needlegrass, barley, and rye, the waving seed heads that turn from green to gold. And I look at this little green volunteer in my garden and recognize it as part of a grand and ancient family. This is its place, too. I'm deciding whether to pull it out or let it grow when I notice a startling black caterpillar with red spikes down its back crawling nearby. It's the larva of a swallowtail butterfly that only feeds on pipevine, a plant which is growing in my yard. I trace the stem of the pipevine, and I see that it has wrapped itself around my fuchsia, where the hummingbirds like to feed. So I carefully untangle the two because both the caterpillar and the hummingbird are at home here, too. My distractible, meandering way is not efficient or quick as gardening methods go. And it's a terrible way to get through a book. But the more I engage up close and present, the more I fall in love with the interconnected life around me. I could hire someone to weed, put in an automatic watering system, and get things done, and finally sit back and finish my book in the shade. But then I would only be a spectator, not a member of the holy congregation of my garden. One of the books that I attempted to read while sitting in my garden, I finally had to go inside to finish it, was Ray Bradbury's Dandelion Wine. It takes place in a small Midwestern town in the 1920s. When I was writing this, I just said in the 20s, and my husband pointed out that this is the 20s. Oh my God, I'm getting so old. One chapter starts with an old man lying in bed on an early summer morning, woken by the sound of what for him signals the initiation of a treasured ritual of summer. He is hearing the sound of the very first lawn being mown that year. And that sound pulls the old man into a reverie, remembering his years performing this common and communal act. Still lying in bed, he can feel the push and pull of the mower, the spray of leaves against his legs, the smell of cut grass. He looks forward to the coming liturgy of mowing, a hand raised in greeting, an exchange of news with neighbors, a wave goodbye, and back to mowing. And he anticipates picking dandelion flowers, the weeds in his lawn, with his grandchildren, and making them into wine to bank the taste of summer for a sacrament of remembrance in the coming colder months. He gets up and goes out to share this powerful moment with his mowing neighbor. And the mowing man waves him over, excited to share some news. The liturgy has begun. What he shares is that he has found a new kind of grass that's just been developed that only grows so high and crowds out all the weeds, so you never have to mow, you'll never see a dandelion, never have to deal with the lawn again. Isn't it great? To the mowing man, this is progress, relief from drudgery. But to the old man, it signals loss of community and communion. It may be less work, he recognizes, but for him, a lawn without mowing, without dandelions, is a barren, disconnected choice, a less human choice. As Desmond Tutu says, you can't be human in isolation. You are only human in relationships. It is not through reducing effort, through more ease and conformity that we find ourselves, our purpose, or our belonging. It is through connection to other beings, to the web of all existence. It is through transactions of care and kindness, but also those of messiness, of being annoyed, bumping up against each other, finding a weed in the flower bed, that we find our place in the great we, that we expand our boundaries, challenge our sense of ownership, call out our own self-centeredness, inhabit a shared reality. The more we move toward a touch-free, frictionless, disposable, no human contact necessary world, the smaller we becomes, losing the sense of who other people are and who we are in relation to them and why that matters. How can we care if we do not, in some way, touch other lives? Cornel West has said, justice is what love looks like in public. Justice is what love looks like in public. And what love looks like is getting into the weeds with ourselves, our neighbors, and our world. Thank you. The low road. What can they do to you? Whatever they want. They can set you up, they can bust you, they can break your fingers, They can burn your brain with electricity, blur you with drugs till you can't walk, can't remember. They can take your child, wall up your lover. They can do anything you can't stop them from doing. How can you stop them? Alone, you can fight, you can refuse, you can take what revenge you can, but they roll over you. But two people fighting back to back can cut through a mob. A snake dancing file can break a cordon. An army can meet an army. Two people can keep each other sane, can give support, conviction, love, massage, hope, sex. Three people are a delegation, a committee, a wedge. With four, you can play bridge and start an organization. With six, you can rent a whole house, eat pie for dinner with no seconds, and hold a fundraising party. A dozen make a demonstration, 100 fill a hall, 1,000 have solidarity and your own newsletter, 10,000 power and your own paper, 100,000 your own media, 10 million your own country. It goes on one at a time. It starts when you care to act. It starts when you do it again after they said no. It starts when you say, we, and know who you mean, and each day you mean one more. Now is the time in our service when we share what we all brought with us. It could be joy, it could be sorrow, it could be anger, it could be pain. It could be all of those. We take this time to speak aloud what's on our heart or to hold it quietly in our hearts. When the bell rings, would you please say aloud or hold quietly that which is on your heart? And for the people on Zoom, you can put things in the chat. We have no chat messages, but from the book. Welcome new baby Simon David Oase, whose grand aunt is Evely. Congratulations to Dave Rudy's grandnephew Stephen, who graduated from high school this past week and plans to attend New Haven University. Congratulations to Dave and Carol's granddaughter, who rode in the Women's Youth Nationals for the 4th year in a row, one of the top 24 teams in the country, and happy birthday, Corliss Smith. And together we say, we hold them in our care.
I invite you now into a time of doing absolutely nothing. Close your eyes if it helps you to just sit. Sit with yourself and the people around you. Sit with your questions. Sit with justice and injustice. Sit with your gentle anger, your determination and your helplessness, your hopes and desires and frustrations. No doing, just breathing. Breathe, sigh, deep breaths, deep sighs. In these times, in all times, sometimes, all we can do is keep breathing. So feel your own breath, because it's always there. Put a hand on your heart if it helps. Sense the breath and the pulse of the people around you. They're sustaining you too, and your breath is sustaining someone else. Know that our collective breath holds all the world's joys and sorrows, yours, mine, everyone's. That song we sing to the kids, Go Now in Peace, give yourself a gift of staying now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere you are. Stay breathing, stay with yourself, stay with all of us gathered, and stay with what matters most to you. And when the time is right for you, open your eyes. I've been coming to First UU here in Oakland for less than a year after moving to the Bay Area from the East Coast a couple of years ago. And I have a lot of questions about justice. And I can't think of a better place than this congregation to ask those questions. So I invite you for this next little while to continue to think about what justice means for you. In the Time for All Ages, I asked you to share, but now just ponder. What comes to your minds when you think of justice? What words or images or examples or stories come up? What does it mean to do justice? What does it look like in your life, in your community, in this congregation, in the world, in this country in 2026? I'm asking because I am not always sure. I'm asking because I don't know about you, but every day I feel overwhelmed by injustice. Sometimes in my own experience, and certainly in the news and social media, and in the conversations I have with and stories I hear from friends and family and neighbors. There is suffering, there is great need, there is endless opportunity to do something about justice issues. Some are very near, some are far away. There's so much that sometimes I don't end up doing anything at all. Maybe some of you have had that experience. Some days I'm so wrapped up in my own life that I shut out what's happening around me. It's even a relief sometimes to focus only on my own struggles, whether they're justice related or not. The worst days, though, are when I find myself getting used to how things are. The atrocities of corporations, governments, public figures, the rights and freedoms available to the wealthy and powerful, the disregard and disenfranchisement of so many. This is the world we live in. Are you getting used to it too? Is that what we want? And if not, how do we work for something else? I have been a Unitarian Universalist for 30 years, and I recently entered seminary to train to be a minister, partly because I see Unitarian Universalism as having the capacity and the desire for justice that's truly rooted in love. These are core Unitarian Universalist values, and for me, these values are constant companions. They're always sitting on my shoulders, whispering to me, asking me, what does love ask in this moment? What does justice ask? Living in West Oakland, the moment I walk out of my apartment, I am asking these questions. In my neighborhood, there are dozens, maybe hundreds of people living in tents and cars and RVs under constant threat of eviction or displacement. In contrast, my husband and I own an apartment and a car. We can buy groceries, we have health insurance, we can go to the doctor when we need to. He has a salaried job. I recently left one. We can go out to eat and get coffee and travel to see our kids and help them pay their rents. Am I more deserving of such a life than the woman living in her car on my street? I don't think I am. I say I have unearned privileges of race and socioeconomic class. I say that my relative wealth and security and privilege has been built on and still relies on the sacrifice and marginalization and displacement of other human beings throughout history, not just now. And certainly since European settlers colonized the land we now occupy. Some humans are presumed to be deserving while others are more or less disposed of. There are folks living right out there on Castro Street, right? I first saw that encampment walking here to worship, and I thought, how can it be this way? This disparity in wealth and safety and security and dignity. How can I, on my way here to worship love and justice and equity and generosity and transformation, those are some of our other core Unitarian Universalist values, how can I just walk on by? Do I have a responsibility here? Do we as a congregation? If you're here today, I'm guessing you have at least some access to resources, if not financial, then social or spiritual or practical, the resources that come with congregational life. So I ask all of us here, what do we do with whatever resources or privilege or power we have to create justice? Do we get involved only if we're directly impacted by injustice, if we see it on the street outside of our house? How can we be allies to all who are suffering or marginalized or vulnerable? How can we be allies to communities and movements working for change? I have to tell you that sometimes I doubt my own impulses. So I'm someone who apologizes to a string bean for putting it down the disposal. So maybe I'm just like too worried about everything. Maybe I have a savior complex, or maybe my expectations are too high, or I'm impatient, or my ability to tolerate discomfort is too low. I don't know. Maybe I need to accept how things are. It would be easier that way. My daughter just spent her junior year of college studying art in Italy, and we visited her, and we went to Rome, to Vatican City, and we were among like thousands of people visiting the Vatican that day. We're online, shuffling along this big chain link fence that surrounds the whole Vatican. And there are people living in tents outside that fence. Not as many as Oakland, but a few. And I was walking along, and I watched a nun on her cell phone, not exactly stepping over, but kind of stepping around this man lying on the sidewalk. And to be completely honest, I felt relieved, like relieved of responsibility. Like, if she's not gonna worry about this person, then, and all these other people aren't worrying about this person, I guess I don't have to be either. And then I wondered, do people inside the Vatican worry about this person? Like, with all the power and resources and money of the Catholic Church, do they feel helpless or hopeless also about poverty and homelessness right outside their doors? What does Pope Leo think about when he looks out the window and sees people living out along that fence? Is he so used to them that he doesn't see them anymore? That he can look right past them, as so many of us do? Or does he have love and justice on his shoulders, whispering in his ears? Does he wonder what work is his to do? Do you? I spend a lot of time deciding what I can do as an individual, like how I spend my time and energy and money supporting love and justice. I spend a lot of time wishing I did more. The truth is, I spend probably way more time thinking and writing and reading about justice than being an activist or an organizer or an advocate. I've been involved that way at times, but I couldn't sustain it. And part of why I'm in seminary is to discern like how and where I can be of use and still live within my own limits. And part of why I'm in a congregation is that congregations can do work that none of us can do alone. Congregations help remind us of the work and encourage us to get involved in even small ways, because there's lots of different roles to play, right? Lots of pieces to the justice puzzle. Many of those justice pieces are things beyond individual people, like I'm talking about systems, institutions, how society is organized, our criminal justice system, our healthcare system, the labor market, capitalism. Some ways we respond collectively to these things in our Unitarian Universalist congregations, in this congregation and others I've been a part of, are these. We march and we protest, we boycott and strike and take other collective action. Sometimes we partner with others, like when we hosted that interfaith gathering right here in this sanctuary before the last No Kings rally, and again before the May Day rally. We display symbols like the Pride flag and the Black Lives Matter flag to say what we believe in. We try to be careful about the words we use and don't use. We try to respect each other's pronouns and let each other know when our language is harmful. If you were here in late April, several congregants role-played and talked about microaggressions right up here in the chancel, so that we all might learn and practice other ways of being in community. And the following week, BIPOC and White Ally caucuses began after church. What else? We give money to groups and organizations doing justice work locally and regionally. We pay the Shumi land tax to help rematriate public land back to indigenous peoples. There is lots more that we're doing, and there is always more that we could do. We know that we might not necessarily agree on what most needs to be done for justice or how to do it. Like, we certainly might not agree with Pope Leo, but we might not even agree with each other. Different people are aware of and impacted by different injustices, probably have different opinions about priorities we should have as a congregation and how to act on them and from them. The UUA, our Unitarian Universalist Association of Congregations, has some great resources for congregational justice work and asks some more good questions, mostly about the decision-making process. How do congregations decide what justice work to undertake? Who's responsible for that work? Does it get delegated to a committee or the same few people over and over? Does it get put to a vote? Does it get funded? Is it spoken of in worship? I want to add one more question that I think is particularly important, and it comes from an observation by Brazilian Bishop Elder Câmara. He said, "When I feed the poor, they call me a saint. When I ask why the poor have no food, they call me a communist." Personally, I ask all the time why the poor have no food, and I can name all kinds of things like capitalism and dehumanization, and those don't come with quick fixes. I don't know how to abolish capitalism, so I'm more likely to just feed someone, right? Or send money to someone. And I think congregations tend to do that too. But the trouble is, feeding people today doesn't ensure that they will be fed tomorrow. It doesn't change the fact that they'll be hungry again. It doesn't ask why certain groups of people in certain places are hungry or unhoused or unemployed while others have plenty. Is there a way we can ask that question of why there is hunger and seek not just to feed, but to make a bigger difference, like in systems or policy or law? How can we challenge these big things? How can we change the minds of people who have the power to change these things? Are these even the right questions to ask? I honestly don't know. But I really want to make the connections between all the different forms our justice efforts take. The ways we change our own individual habits and challenge our own beliefs, the ways we learn in relationship with one another and others beyond these walls, the impact one single action or instance can have, and also the groups and organizations and movements that are needed for long-term change. These movements have so much to teach us. History has a lot to teach us. Neighborhoods have a lot to teach us. Who's working on what? What's working, what's not? Whether there's a role for us. Helping feed people one at a time teaches us too, even as our goals are audacious ones of ending oppression and injustice and inequality. Whether we're feeding people or asking why people have no food, most UUs I know are neither saints nor communists. Some of us are trying to be bridges, building partnerships with organizations and movements, and others seeking justice. In the Bay Area, some encampments are organizing for their own rights, their own dignity, their own liberty. They're not necessarily wanting or needing outside help, but they may want allies. Maybe we can be beacons, whisperers, shining the light of attention on injustice, even or especially when it's easier to walk on by. We can be the ones asking why, in this wealthy country, someone is living in a tent or a car, or worse, a cage, a detention center, a prison, a home or a street where they're subject to violence or abuse. And not why as in what's wrong with them, right? But why as in what's wrong with this? How can some people in this society have access to homes and health care and jobs and safety and autonomy and rest, while others do not? And what stories are we telling or believing about why that is? Deep down inside of us, is there a presumption about who is deserving and who is disposable? And, or, this is a hard one, who or what do we blame for how things are? Can we avoid blaming any one person or party or ideology and work for justice in a way that has love and dignity for all at its center, even those we might disagree with and who might seek to marginalize or criminalize or dispose of or harm us? These are the things I hope we can ask together. In this congregation, people have different capacities and abilities and amounts of time and money and energy, different experiences with justice and injustice, and so, of course, different questions. And when we share them with one another, we nourish one another. And we are practicing and learning both love and justice in here, partly so we can take it out from here. Beyond us, there are so many partners to work with in groups and coalitions and organizations and movements. Justice work is stronger in partnership. We cannot and should not ask or answer the big questions by ourselves. We need to do it in conversation with others, especially those most affected by injustice. Sarah mentioned in her reflection the words of Dr. Cornel West, "Justice is what love looks like in public." And to me, this is central to our Unitarian Universalist theology. I want us to show our love for each other and our neighbors and this city, show our other values and our principles, talk about them all the time with one another and with the people around us. Be the love and justice whisperer in people's ears, or sing about it, or shout about it, or write about it, however you express yourself. There aren't simple answers or responses, I know that. Not sainthood, not communism, not heroes. It's work we all have to do all the time and to keep talking about justice and what it could mean for and with one another in this congregation, for the people living in tents and prisons and poverty anywhere and everywhere. None of us is more deserving than any other, and none of us is disposable. Love, justice, dignity for all. May it be so, and may we make it so.
Thank you, Alison. So sometimes I think it would be a lot easier for me if I hadn't gotten myself involved at First Unitarian. I mean, think of all the meetings, rehearsals, discussions, organizing, going to services every Sunday. That's a lot of my time and energy, not to mention the money I give. Yes, it would be easier not to have this in my life, but better? No way, not even close. Being a part of Unitarian Universalism, giving my time and money to First Unitarian Church, has been an investment that has paid me back so many times over in meaningful, deep friendships, exchange of ideas that have profoundly changed me for the better, and the opportunity to be part of a community that measures success not in dollars or clicks or wins, but in depth and love and integrity. We really try to be what we believe. And one of the ways we do that each month is we choose a community partner to share what we collect in the basket. Our half-plate recipient for June is Oakland LGBTQ+ Community Center. They are dedicated to enhancing and sustaining the well-being of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer individuals, families, and allies through educational, social, and health-related activities, programs, and services. At a later service, we'll hear from somebody from the organization when they come to collect their check. So would the ushers please come forward and please give generously. If this is your first time here, feel free to let the basket pass. Your presence is gift enough. Would you recite with me the words that are on the screen? Do the work of the church, which is weaving a tapestry of love we call community. We dedicate ourselves, and these our offerings.
Hi, everybody. My name is Patsy, and I'm going to do the announcements today. Please join us at Venti Hall after the service for coffee hour and connections. This month's community forum will meet in Starr King Room at 12:15 to talk about the budding mutual aid network being built in and out of the walls of First Unitarian. This network surveys the needs and resources of those connected with the First Unitarian and brings the resources to those in need. Bring your questions, ideas, generosity, and hopes to this conversation. Newcomers, we're so glad to have you here today. Right after the service ends, please join Emily Stoper. Emily, are you here? Oh, sorry, I guess not. We have, Jody's going to do it. Okay, so right down here, please come down and Jody will give you a little sort of bit orientation and answer your questions about First Unitarian. Are you interested in being on the worship team? There are many ways to be involved. Visit the worship team table most Sundays in Venti Hall after the services to find out more. And remember to check the Chalice Chatter newsletter and our rolling news board for more upcoming events, resources, information about the church. And also note that in our announcements here in our program, it states that the board meeting is going to be the fourth Tuesday of the month, but actually it's the fourth Sunday. It's going to be June 28th at 12:30 in the Starr King Room. So just to let you know that. And the other thing is that next week we have a postcard launching of our nonpartisan postcarding campaign this summer, and we're going to have that in the program room at 12:15. So please come and postcard with us. Thank you.
May love and justice be realized in you, around you, and through you. This is the day we are given. These are the times we are in. This is the one life we have. Let us be grateful and bold and rejoice in it.